where we cut through the confusion and guide you every step of the way.
How to close a Florida probate. Final steps explained. 2025 guide. If you've gone through Florida probate, you already know it can feel like running a marathon. The paperwork, the deadlines, the hearings, it's exhausting. And by the time you get to what feels like the finish line, most people assume it's all over. But here's the surprising truth. Closing the probate estate has its own set of rules. Miss one of these final steps, and your case can remain open for months longer than necessary. In this guide, I'll walk you through every step you need to complete in order to officially close a Florida probate in 2025. Many people assume probate ends automatically after the assets are distributed, but that's not how it works in Florida. The court requires a very specific sequence of documents and approvals before the estate is considered officially closed. Executors who don't know this often feel a sense of relief too soon, only to discover the judge has flagged their case as incomplete. That can create new delays, extra hearings, and more stress for everyone involved. Imagine this. You've spent half a year collecting assets, paying debts, and carefully distributing money to heirs. You breathe a sigh of relief only to get a letter from the court saying the estate is still open because one final petition or receipt wasn't filed. Instead of celebrating closure, you're back to scrambling. That's exactly what we want to prevent today. Let's go step by step. Step 1. Filing the final accounting. The first step is preparing and submitting the final accounting to the court. Think of this document as the ultimate report card for your work as executor. It must show every dollar that came into the estate, every expense that went out, and every distribution made to beneficiaries. The purpose is accountability. Beneficiaries have the right to see exactly how the estate was managed, and the court needs to confirm that nothing has been mishandled. In Florida, beneficiaries are given 30 days to review the final accounting. If they agree with it, or if no objections are filed within that time, the accounting is considered accepted. But if an heir spots something unusual, they can object. An objection might lead to another hearing, adding weeks or months to the process. Here's an example. Suppose the estate included a classic car that sold for $15,000, but that transaction never made it into the accounting. A sharp-eyed heir could object, asking the judge to explain where that money went. Even if it was just a clerical error, the objection delays closing. That's why precision is so important. Every transaction counts, even small ones like bank service charges or postage fees. Executors who gloss over the details often pay the price later with court delays. The more thorough you are, the faster you'll get approval to move forward. Step 2. Clearing all remaining fees and costs. Once the final accounting is filed, the next task is making sure every outstanding cost has been paid. Closing probate is not possible if there are unpaid fees. These usually include attorney fees, court filing costs, executor compensation, and the cost of publishing creditor notices. It's surprisingly easy to overlook small invoices. Maybe the attorney's office sends a final bill for $200. Maybe the local newspaper sends a $150 invoice for running the creditor notice. If those payments slip through the cracks, the judge won't approve the closing order. Here's another scenario. Suppose you distributed most of the estate funds to beneficiaries but forgot about a pending $200 court fee. Now there's no cash left in the estate account, and you'll have to go back to the heirs to claw back money just to cover the bill. That creates frustration and can even spark conflict. The smartest way to avoid this is by keeping a dedicated estate checking account. Every expense, from postage to attorney fees, runs through that one account. At the end, you'll have a clear record showing everything was paid properly. Florida judges often request copies of the estate bank statements for this very reason. It's proof that no expenses were overlooked. Step 3. Filing proof of distributions. After debts and costs are handled, the court wants evidence that heirs actually received what they were entitled to. This is called filing proof of distributions. There are a few ways to provide this. Signed receipts from beneficiaries, copies of canceled checks, or affidavits of distribution. If real estate was transferred, you'll need recorded deeds showing the new ownership. Let's say one heir was due $50,000. The executor writes the check and the heir deposits it. That canceled check can serve as proof, but the safer move is having the heir sign a receipt acknowledging payment. This eliminates any chance of later disputes. For property transfers, the executor must ensure the deed is recorded in county records. Without that record, the court cannot be sure the transfer actually occurred. A surprising number of estates get delayed because an executor assumed a title company handled recording, only to find the paperwork never made it to the courthouse. This step might feel like a formality, but it protects everyone. It reassures the judge that heirs got what they were owed, and it protects you, the executor, from future claims. Step 4. Petition for discharge. The most critical filing is the petition for discharge. This is the executor's official request to the judge saying, "Everything is complete, and I am asking to be released from my duties." The petition confirms that debts are paid, assets are distributed, and the accounting has been submitted. Once this petition is filed, the judge reviews the entire case file one last time. If everything looks good, the court will move forward to issue the final order. Executors sometimes underestimate this step. They think because all the money is gone, the job is over. But until the petition for discharge is filed and approved, you are still legally responsible for the estate. That means if a hidden asset or late claim shows up, you could be dragged back into the process. For example, suppose a forgotten savings bond worth $10,000 surfaces after distributions are made. If you haven't filed the petition or received the order, the court could require you to manage that new asset. Filing the petition is your protection. It signals the official end of your role. Step 5. Court approval and final order. The final milestone is receiving the court's order of discharge. This is the document that legally closes the probate case. Once issued, the estate is officially closed, and the executor's responsibilities are finished. This order isn't just a rubber stamp, it's a shield. Without it, heirs could potentially accuse the executor of mishandling something and drag the case back into court. With it, the estate is locked and done. Executors often describe this as the moment of true closure. After months of exhausting work, they finally feel free. It's the equivalent of crossing the finish line after a grueling marathon. All the stress of deadlines, filings, and family disputes is behind them. Common mistakes that delay closing. Unfortunately, many estates stumble right at the end because of avoidable mistakes. Let's highlight the most common ones. The first mistake is submitting sloppy accounting. Judges do not accept vague categories like miscellaneous expenses. They want detail. If your report is vague, expect a request for clarification that sets you back weeks. The second mistake is failing to pay final invoices. Executors sometimes rush to distribute assets to heirs, leaving nothing in the estate account for leftover bills. That forces awkward clawbacks and creates conflict. The third mistake is failing to collect proof of distributions. If heirs later dispute what they received, you'll have no documentation to protect yourself. The fourth mistake is forgetting to file the petition for discharge. This leaves the estate open indefinitely, with you still carrying legal responsibility. Each of these errors is simple to avoid if you stay organized. Double-check every document before submission, and don't assume the court will overlook small details. In probate, details are everything. Frequently asked questions about closing probate. Executors often ask, "How long does it take to close probate once I file everything?" In a smooth case, it can be 30 to 60 days after submitting the petition for discharge. But if heirs file objections, or if the judge requests clarification, it can stretch for several months. Another question is, do I need an attorney for this part? In Florida, formal probate almost always requires attorney representation. So yes, an attorney usually prepares and files the final paperwork. However, as executor, you're the one responsible for providing all accurate financial records and distribution receipts. The attorney files them, but the responsibility for accuracy falls on you. Executors also ask, what happens if I forgot about a small asset after the estate is closed? If that happens, the court may reopen the case through what's called an after-discovered asset process. It's not common, but it happens. This is why the final accounting must be so thorough. A missed account, no matter how small, can cause complications down the road. Let's recap the closing process. First, file the final accounting. Second, clear all remaining fees and costs. Third, file proof of distributions. Fourth, submit the petition for discharge. And fifth, Receive the order of discharge from the court. If you follow these steps carefully, you'll close the estate smoothly and protect yourself from future liability. So let me ask you, which part of closing probate do you think is the trickiest? Is it preparing the accounting or waiting for final court approval? Share your experience in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Florida probate guidance.
This helped bring clarity to your situation. Hit that like button and subscribe for more guidance.